Hi all, this is Lynn with Paper Life and Paper Lifers on Facebook, and we are going to get back to our altered composition book slash junk journal slash scrapbook, whatever you want to do with it. This is our stress-free craft with me session. Stress-free, but yeah, should have seen what I was going through trying to get us a new camera view. Yeah, I'll get back to that on another day, apparently. So we did our cover last time. We put in a few pages just to kind of decorate it. I will go ahead and confess I did not finish my homework. I still have pages back here that are not glued together, and they're single. That's because, believe it or not, I was actually running out of glue stick. I did not know that was possible, but it is. I did go ahead and add in some of the pockets to kind of show you ahead of time what I was thinking about doing. So this has not been glued down yet, but I would just run a bead of glue around the edges. This was one of those scrap pieces that was on the top of my scrapbook paper. I just put it across the top for a band. And somewhere in here, you guys weren't part of this because I recorded it. However, my camera was falling at me while I was doing it, and I didn't realize it. But we made another pocket just so you're aware of what we did. And I can't seem to find it. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. I was trying to be all on top of this today. As you can tell, that did not work. Okay, there's another pocket in here. Oh, maybe right here? Oh, right here. Okay. So then there's another pocket right there. Wow, this is going to be interesting video, guys. Just bear with me, please. Please don't yell at me. Okay. So what I want to do at this point is kind of walk you through how we did different pockets, or how I did the different pockets. So I'm going to find a spot back here somewhere. And we are going to do first that corner tuck down spot. As you can tell, I was not good about waiting for my glue to dry before I moved on. So I'm just going to take my paper, and this one's actually my double-sided one, so it's double thick. Whatever, stress-free crafting, right? And I'm just going to fold it down a little bit. I left about the same amount of margin as we have been doing. I'm telling you, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be a crazy video. So I folded it first out away from where I want my finished edge. Now I'm going to fold it back inside of there. Since I was out of, well, pretty much out of glue stick, I did find that since I am putting this on the inside of 2 pieces of paper, and I'm going to be covering it with scrapbook paper, I could cheat and use like a tacky glue, because you're not going to see it anyways. So I'm just putting some on here. I would say try not to put as much as I'm going to put, because you know I always make a mess with my glue. So I'm just folding that back down, gluing it into place. You could cut this off if you wanted to. I went ahead and kept it because I just feel like it's going to add some extra support for that pocket. You know, I don't know. If you're anything like me, I'm always digging in there because something small fell in. So I had one camera set up, and I thought it was going to be the best thing ever. So now we have this little pocket there. I'm going to grab a piece of our scrap and glue it on the top. I thought it was going to be the best spot ever, and it was going to be so great and no problems, until I had figured out that it was attached to the table, and every time I tried to do anything working, you guys were getting all jiggly, so that wasn't going to work. Then I put my, I guess it's like a stand. It's not really the traditional tripod, but I put that, attached it to something over here, and it just wasn't strong enough to hold it. So it was interesting. I'm just kind of eyeballing where to cut this one at. Nothing real precise about this. I want to leave a margin over on the side, just like we have on everything else up to this point. And just kind of figuring out where I think I want to cut it so it's easier to work with. Take my scraps, put them to the side again. I'm going to grab my tacky glue because that's the glue I'm working with at the current moment. I still didn't grab any paper to do this on. My scrap paper so I don't squeeze glue out everywhere. That stuff's overrated, right? I'm starting to kind of feel like you can tell if I made it if there's glue squeezed out. Kind of feel like that might be my calling card. I'm just going to put this down and kind of move it into place where I want it at, or where I think I want it at. See, I got glue there already. I got glue there already. And I lined up my bottom. Oh, I don't even know what it just attacked me. Oh, it's some of the glue fibers. Okay, so I lined my paper up at the very bottom, hoping to not have to trim it off. But I forgot that was the part that I just kind of whacked off with the scissors, so it wasn't very neat. I see a spot that I missed with some glue, so I'm just going to fix that real quick before I move along. So what's your guys' traditions for Christmas? Do you do anything that's not normally done or something like that? I don't know, we usually do like 12 days of Christmas with our kids where they pretty much get a small gift every day for 12 days. But since they're getting older and that just wasn't appealing to them as much, or didn't seem to be appealing as much, we decided to do like a secret Santa in the house. But the downside or the trick to it is that it has to be handmade or homemade. Handmade, homemade, I guess same difference. And you know, it's just because being a kid, it's not like you have a whole lot of money, but if you make something, then I know as a parent, I always enjoy it. So we are giving that a try this year. Hopefully it works out well. Everybody seemed to like it at the beginning. So all I did was I took my scissors and I trimmed off the excess. At least down that part and down the side. I'll need to come in here and trim that off in a moment, but I'm going to let it dry a little bit first. Ooh, I'm going to let something dry. I'm going to show you this other pocket that I did. And all I did for this one was I took my paper and I folded it back. Again, leaving a margin. And you could really, I mean, you could take it all the way out here if you wanted, because this is going to be the part that gets folded in. So let me actually do that. Let me do a different size than I did originally, so we can mix things up. Sorry, I'm sure my hand's in your way on that one. So now that I folded it into the center of the book, I'm going to fold it the opposite way, so that once it's glued down, we have a nice finished edge right there. Since I grabbed some of my paper that wasn't already glued down, I'm not sure how this tacky glue is going to work. But I'm figuring worst case scenario, my scrapbook paper will cover it up. I'm figuring, we'll see how wrong I am. I'm finger painting with glue. All right. I'm actually now going to finger paint with glue. I'm going to try to move it around just a little bit so I don't have those big lumps of glue. Because I find that to actually be one of the biggest problems with using wet glue on a thinner paper, is that those lumps want to really show through. Now the braiding tool really helps with this. It helps to smooth out that glue. I know I'm kind of addicted to this thing. It's probably one of the best little add-on craft pieces I've bought in a long time. Okay, so as you can, I don't know if you can see, but I'm still a little wrinkled up there. And that's why I did not recommend something like a tacky glue, a Mod Podge, any type of wet glue for adhering your papers together. But in this case, I'm not worried about it because I'm going to come in here and cover this up. Hopefully. Oh, there we go. That piece is going to fit pretty well. With just some more of our scrap paper. Well, I guess it's scrap at this point. It's what's left over from the pieces I cut down already. Just going to tuck that in so I hopefully don't get glue everywhere. Come on, Mr. Glue Bottle. And leaving a space like we've been doing, I'm just going to lay this paper down, hopefully in the right spot. Hopefully, hopefully, hopefully. I guess the nice thing about the tacky glue is it gives me more time to work with it. The glue stick really kind of limits your time before it wants to start curing and drying on you. I'm having the hardest time getting the glue all the way up to this edge today. Oh well. Oh well, we're gonna call that fine. I'll fix it later. We are gonna call that just fine, right? So I'm gonna leave this be and let it set for a bit. Once it's done, I'm just gonna come in here like I've been doing, and I'm going to trim our paper around. Maybe I'm gonna add some more glue in this corner. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Okay, okay, so I'm gonna go back through, trim around the edges of this paper like I've been doing, just so it looks more formed with the paper. Now I will say, you don't even have to really fold your pages like this. The nice thing about using this scrapbook paper is it's pretty strong all on its own, so I could just get away with, you know, plopping this down and gluing it in place. And I probably would, like if I wanted to put something there, or I wanted to maybe put a pocket this way. Well, we already did that. Maybe put a pocket this way where it would be harder to fold, because now you're done pretty much. But that wasn't what I wanted to do. So let's take this little piece that I took off of that paper I used a minute ago, and I'm going to put it up here. Now I'm going to put it down here as a little like corner tuck. Now, and this is what I was talking about. You can use it as like a belly band in either direction if you wanted to. I don't know. I like the little corner thingies. They look cute to me for some reason. So that's what I'm going with. That is what I'm going with. Now, if you wanted this distressed, I would be distressing these prior to gluing them down. In this case, I just don't want to, so I'm not. Nanny, nanny, nanny. That's what I'm going to do. Sorry, I'm just trying to move this piece in here so I don't get glue everywhere. I'm just taking my Tombow glue and I'm going to put a thin bead of glue down one side. Okay, on the other one, I may not be using the Tombow because it just went flying. Okay, luckily it didn't go flying too far. So I've glued that side into place. Now I'm going to do the same thing down here at the bottom. Is just put a thin bead of glue, kind of eyeballing where I think it's going to hit the edge. All right, so I'm going to leave that be and let it dry. We did the corner, we did that one. Now, another thing that you could very easily do is take one of your pieces of paper and just glue it across the bottom as a pocket. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because I want to. Let's do that. Sounds like a good idea to me, right? So, I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to make a bead down the side of my scrap because that's going to glue down there and I don't necessarily know where it's going to hit at. So, for the rest of it, I'm going to come through here on my book itself and try to make a thin line of glue. I'm kind of in love with this Tombow glue because this is pretty much the only glue that I can make a thin line with. Kind of eyeball where I think this is going to be. I'm thinking right about this line. Okay. So all I'm going to do is place this on here. Kind of move it down. Hopefully make sure I'm on my spot where I want it to be. Now I'm just kind of lifting this up to make sure that I'm not coming up shorter than I want it at the bottom, if that makes any sense. If that makes any sense. I mean, I would figure by now you guys really speak Lin. If you are watching this and you can make it through, then you are bilingual in my crazy talk. Okay. So because I just happen to be on this side, let's trim this side off. Make sure I don't have a paper behind it, because that would probably be bad. So now I don't have that big piece sticking out. So now we just created a little pocket down there at the bottom. Pretty easy, I'd say. I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the other side, or on the other one, which is just come in here and cut these pieces off so they're not in my way when I'm trying to talk to you guys about this. Yep, that should have been done neater, but whatever. Roll with it. We're just gonna roll with it, right? Oh no, I'm back to the just roll with it. Just roll with it. Okay, that's done. Now, after this sets for just a little bit, we'll come back in and trim these off a little better and glue those pockets down. Especially if we can find them again. Now with these little pieces, another thing that you can do is just kind of here I'm going to nip a little triangle out of here and make it look kind of like a end of a ribbon. Why not? And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm thinking if you took this and kind of maybe glued it up in the corner like a little, I don't know, separator tab or something. That might be fun. Here, let me do that. Let me go ahead and do that. We'll see how fun it is. I'm just going to take my glue and I'm going to maybe, come on glue. Okay, I'm going to run a bead down the middle, put some on each one of these little end pieces because they're going to go on the other paper. Kind of place it where I think I might want it. So all I've done is put one side on this side, one side over here, and then kind of press my other two pieces together. So now we got a little tag sticking out. Why not? I want you in more. Thank you. Let's stick out that far. That looks better. All right. Do I have a scrap piece of paper that's big enough? And I don't, so give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, now you're all jiggly a little bit. Due to the magic of a pause button, I went ahead and grabbed 2 more pieces. Now they are matchy-matchy. They're again a little bit bigger than my cover because it's less stressful for me to cut them down later. All I'm gonna do is find one that I like, and I'm gonna kind of eyeball where I'm gonna place it. Take my tacky glue. I guess on this side you could use your Mod Podge again. I just don't feel like getting it back out. All right, the next time I put this down, someone needs to remind me to stick it upside down. So that I don't have to sit here and fuss with getting the glue to come out. Who's in charge of reminding me of that? Anybody volunteer? I have a couple of my friends that tell me when they watch these videos, they're always yelling answers at me. So hopefully one of them's yelling an answer that they'll yell at me to do it. Talking about you guys answering me, I thought about the other day doing a YouTube live video. I talked myself out of it though, because my internet at home is really bad, as some of you guys know. I just gave that a really crazy solid coverage. It's probably way more than what I needed it to be. So yeah, a lot of you guys know my internet's really bad at home. So I like the idea of doing a live so that I can answer questions, or you all can make fun of me in live time, answer my questions in live time. But I don't know. I just feel like it would be a whole lot of headache, a whole lot of me getting disconnected, and drive us all crazy. So I talked myself back out of it. So all I'm doing is kind of pressing this in to try to get it a nice solid, nice bond between the two. And I'm going to grab another piece and do the same thing on this side. want to have this grain going in opposite direction. I don't know why, but I do. Darn it, no one yelled at me. Or if you did, I didn't hear you. There we go. Same thing, just getting a pretty heavy coating of this, especially, I mean, I don't know if you could tell, but I avoid the edge by, maybe 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. That's just because I know I'm going to go crazy and kind of put too much glue and it's going to want to spread that way. But you want to make sure that you get a nice amount and try to get it as close out to the edge as you're comfortable with. You know, we all learn our shortcomings. Look, be proud of me. I'm going to stick it upside down. Okay, there we go. Thank you for yelling. Thank you for reminding me and yelling at me to do it. I heard you. And same thing I did before, just going to get I was going to say a really nice, but let's be honest, as nice of a bond between those two as I can or am going to. I mean, I guess if I sat here and messed with it more, I would be able to get a better bond. But we know me, and that's not going to happen. So I'm going to do the same thing here. And the other thing I didn't do, even though I told you guys to do it, and should have, but I forgot, was I didn't put this under a big book. Now, it's not the end of the world. One, it basically will flatten itself out as I'm using it. I mean, as you can tell, it's not as bad as it was the other day. And I can always put it under a book later. But there we go with that. What I'm going to do is try to find my ruler. Okay, try to get it out without making a mess. I'm going to take my utility knife because you know how I get down. And maybe not let it move on me. I'm just going to follow a line along where that cover is, so I can try to cut off that excess. Okay, so there's one edge of it done. Now, since this page isn't supported, it becomes trickier to do with a knife like this. So my biggest recommendation would be really little to no pressure on it and just let the knife do the work. So even though I'm only cutting through one page, I'm sitting there taking like a million swipes at it to get it through. All right, that could be over exaggerating. Let's see. One. Ooh, I put too much pressure, but it is cutting where it needs to. Yep, I put too much pressure because that cut on the first cut like that, and it wasn't supposed to. It wasn't supposed to do that. All right, get those papers out of my way. Get that out of my way. I'm done with this for the time being. Oh, especially since I put that little flag there. Maybe we shouldn't have put the flag there till after we were done with this part. If you're cutting it like I was, don't do that, because I probably could have very easily cut that off. I'm just trimming my corners. Again, if you guys have a Crop-A-Dile and you want to use that, by all means, go right ahead. I think it's typically the larger size. I think it's a 1/2 inch round, or yeah, 1/2 inch rounded corner or whatever. I'm just not, it will cut through here. Like, I don't know if you can tell, this one has a pretty gradual, and then this has like a really small, probably more like a 1/4 inch round. So I could punch through here and make them consistent. But yeah, that's not what I'm going to do. Same thing I did on the cover. I'm just going to take my nail file and I'm going to try to distress and kind of sand down my edges a little. Now, if you're really messy with the glue like I am, you might want to wait to sand the edges. You know what? I had a piece of sandpaper out here a minute ago. I don't know what I did with it. Yeah, because that would be easier. Okay, so if you're messy with the glue like I am, it might be more beneficial to wait to sand both of the covers at the same time, so that if you get any glue squeezing out, you're basically sanding it off. Because I think I know what I want to do with this now. And if I get glue on that side, it won't take like I want it to. So all I'm doing is just kind of going around the edges, nothing fancy, nothing organized about it, just randomly. Okay, here's what I want to do. If you are planning on Mod Podging over this again, do not use like a Tim Holtz washable stamp pad for this. You want to use something like Archival, something that's permanent, because your Mod Podge will want to pick up and spread that ink. Now, it does look cool like that sometimes, if that's what you want to do. So what I want to do on this one is just kind of take my ink dauber robber and go around this edge. My main focus is in the areas that I hit with the nail file / sandpaper. So now that I did this, I kind of feel like I want to go through and distress all the pages, but we'll see. I thought about this spine and I was thinking about putting something on there, be it some fabric or painting it. I think I'm just going to leave it as it is. I don't know. I like it because it reminds me more that it was a composition book. But that's me and my weirdness, so you may not like it like that. You may want to do something else, and if that's the case, you do you. Okay, so gonna do the same thing, gonna ink all around here. La la la, let's pretend I'm done. So we have a cover. Now you can add decorations if you want, embellish it. I may just not going to at this point because I don't know what I want to put there. We have our inside cover. One thing to keep in mind is you might want to add a pocket onto your inside cover. I've kind of been really liking those lately. Here's our page that I don't have glued down yet, but we're going to pretend like it is. That becomes a nice large pocket. Here is my corner doohickey right there. We have a little flag. We have a nice big side tuck-in spot. We have, what else do we have? Another little spot. Don't have anything in there. I'm trying to find the other ones that we did. Yep, I didn't glue that one down either. Another one. Here's a little pocket that we put in. Now, I guess the nice thing about doing the smaller pockets like this is you could still write on the page and then stick something down in there if you wanted to. This is going to get glued on both sides, so let's pretend that it's glued. That'll go in there like that. The back of my cover, that all I need to do now is trim that off, sand it, distress around it, and that is done. All right, guys, so there is my easy peasy, stress-free, altered composition book thingy bobby. I don't know if I told you this, but with this, if you wanted to add a little charm or glue it onto the spine, it would just, you know, stay attached. I'm not going to worry about it. I might at a later point, but not right now. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me and crafting. I hope you all had a good time. I will talk to you all later. I'm hoping I wasn't crazy out of frame throughout all that. Check us out. Come hang out with us on Facebook. And I'll see you all later.